Welcome to the Callback Countdown podcast. I'm Joseph Maxwell. I'm currently producing a musical that I wrote, which is crazy. And I wanted to share the story of how it came to be. I'll be going back through my whole life and pinpointing the people, places, and moments that led directly or indirectly to this. Today, I'm joined by Ryan Santa. I don't remember the first time I met Ryan, but one of the first times I remember speaking to him was at This Improvised Life at the Euclid Tavern, so way back in the day. And since then, I've seen Ryan perform countless times. One highlight was Pop Cleveland, which included my wife as a saxophone playing cat, which was very fun to see. That was right before COVID, and then COVID hit. And since then, there's been still a lot of stuff at Imposters Theater and around town, including a spooky play that was a huge inspiration for me. Talk about that in a second. But welcome, Ryan. Thanks for being here.
Joseph, what an honor, man. What an intro. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start from the top. How did you get into comedy?
Oh, man. I think this, don't all these answers have to start with family?
Yeah, that's
My,
it. Yeah, yeah.
right? Like just growing up, my folks, my brother and sister, we were just a fun loving, like goofy bunch. My parents weren't really sticklers about, expressing yourself. So that was
Mm,
always really easy. And when I was growing up, Comedy Central was just getting going. And so being exposed to old SNLs and National Lampoon sort of stuff and noticing people's reaction around that. I'm also a middle child. And
mm,
I think that has a lot to do with like tension breaking.
hmm.
So yeah, I mean, from a kid, I was really drawn to it. And then my first stand-up class was when I was 17.
Whoa.
I started the Dave Schwensen stand-up classes here in Cleveland was my first like official training.
Why'd they let you do that as a 17-year-old? It feels like, is that normal? I don't know.
Uh I don't think it was
Did you
normal.
have to
I
like
believe
sign
I
a
was
waiver? Did your parents have to like sign a form or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, that's
And I
fair.
do remember dragging my dad along to open mics because I couldn't get in and just bombing at a bunch of open mics because I didn't understand this at the time, Joseph, but no one was interested in the opinions of a 17-year-old.
Yeah, that's a good
Uh,
life lesson to learn.
yeah, and especially at the stand-up circuit and stuff. But I think even then, I was having discussions about finishing high school and wanting to move to New York and pursue stand-up comedy, and my parents really wanted me to go to college,
Yeah.
and that was a contentious fight and moment in our relationship. But I mean, they knew that I was real serious about doing comedy. Sorry, I have two dogs. I don't know what the editing can do about that.
Oh no, it's
But
perfect. It's
yeah,
ideal.
okay.
I thought it was a weird baby that was so like I'm happy to hear it's a dog. Like I was
I mean,
unsure
she
about
is a
that
weird
sound.
baby. She is a weird baby.
Well, speaking of weird babies, um,
What a
sets.
segue.
Yeah, well, no, I don't actually have a segue. I have no segue. But I mean, I guess a 17-year-old is kind of a baby. I never even knew that you did stand up. So how did you, was that like the first comedy that you really got into performing?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I did plays. I mean, my first
Hmm.
performance was a church play where my mom just came home and said, "Hey, you're Joseph." I'm like,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
But actually, yeah, on my own and deliberately doing comedy stand up, it was just so accessible. And I really like,
Yeah.
there's something about comedy that just allows you to create your own opportunities and not needing to wait to be cast or deemed ready to do anything. And I think that's what is encouraged, right? Just go out and fail. And already in my head, it was that romantic period of like, I'm gonna tell my story to Time magazine that I started the circuit when I was 17,
Oh yeah.
like a I don't know, a young Steve Martin or something, So turns
Absolutely.
out, Joseph, not Steve Martin. That was a
Well,
quick
no
revelation.
one is Steve Martin. Steve Martin is the one and only, you know. You can't play the banjo unless you have a secret talent that I don't know about.
Oh goodness, no, man, no. Yeah, you're right. He does have a monopoly on the Steve Martin-ness
Yeah,
comedy
yeah.
as well.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, stand up, especially like the accessibility for a 17-year-old or for someone who doesn't have a community yet, or you can just get up on stage and go for it. So it's a cool way to get in. But how did you take that and then, you said acting and plays and whatnot. How did that turn into sort of the improv sketch that I know you much more as an improviser sketch comedian than a stand-up for sure.
As you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that the fight that I mentioned earlier with my parents about needing to go to college. And so
Hmm.
my middle ground for that was fine, I'll go, but I'll major in theater so I can be a better stand-up. And that was
Wow.
really my driving force was I'm going to learn stagecraft and presence and delivery so I
Hmm.
could do stand-up. And I did my college at Case Western Reserve University. In the first semester there, I auditioned for the improv group because I think when you sort of like stand up, I think when you're just like new to anything, when you watch it, they just seem like rock stars on
Oh, yeah,
set. You
100%.
know, I don't know if you ever get that in music when you watch a musician and think they're like a rock star, but for actors and comedians, I just was like, I want to do that. They
Hmm.
seemed so bright and engaging and like off stage too,
Yeah.
so that just wanting to be cool, just just wanting to fit in and
Hmm.
do something that other people weren't, and then just the side effect of studying a case and being then exposed to the stagecraft of it and the craftsmanship of the art form and finding a passion for that and not just winging it anymore, was so the two really converged perfectly in my heart and mind.
Yeah, that's so I love that feeling because the first time I saw an improv show, it was that exact feeling of like, oh my God, literally anything they do is amazing. And because it is, and I think having been around improv for a few years now, it some of that it's easy to lose sight of that spark and that like magic that is happening when you're like trying
Mm-hmm.
to watch a show or be part of a show. But it's always there, and the audience like has that, which is really cool. So yeah, like it's funny because I don't know if I actually knew that you did theater in college. Because I really think of you so much as a comedian in so many aspects, but one of the biggest things that has inspired me a lot is Stage Frights, which is a
Mm-hmm.
play. So like I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna find I have a screenshot that I'm gonna share in a second. But um,
Okay.
when you like, what made you? Did you already have you wanted to write a play for a long time and then you just did it? Had you written a play before Stage Frights? Like, how did Stage Frights come to be in the whole timeline of your theatrical journey?
Sure. So, yes, I had written plays before and always with partners. I am a huge ensemble person.
Mm-hmm.
I always find my ideas are stronger and brighter and with the help of others. So I've written plays with my brother. I have comedy partners from Chicago that I still work with sometimes. So that process was kind of familiar to me. The theater that I worked at in Chicago for a couple of years, the Public House, was a story driven comedy theater.
Oh.
And through my theater training, the comedy was so much richer if you cared about it, and
Mm-hmm.
connected to it. And that's not to say that it needs to be like serious or dark, but like really care about the donuts in the break room. If that's the thing, whatever,
Yeah.
just go for it. And coming back to Cleveland where there wasn't really a scene and writing and creating pop Cleveland that was deliberately more sketchy. It
Mm-hmm.
had been several years since I'd gone into that like long form dogs. So when we got the space and I really felt this level of achievement in my life and career, and I wanted to do something that honored that. So, and to be fair to Michael Bush, the artistic director of the theater, I did tell him I was writing a sketch show, and then that just didn't happen at all.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Uh, Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool the background of like the theatrical and the comedy, coming together and when you care about something. It makes it funnier, I think. And it makes it like and also the humor makes the story hit harder too. Um that's
Yes.
so yeah, let me share my screen real fast. Where's my do.
Oh, the
Here we
anticipation.
go. Do you see this?
It's sharing.
I'll zoom in.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
October 31st, 2023. You can pinpoint it right back. This is exactly why I wrote a musical.
At 9:30 a.m.
That's like a normal time. That's a normal time to be awake. And, it's not
It
weird.
is.
It's
No, no,
normal.
no.
But I just like saw it the night before. Like I distinctly remember the conversation I had with Michael Bush, right after the show. I was like, "This is great. The imposters should do more stuff like this." And he was
Yeah.
like, "You should write a play." And at that time, I did not know that Michael Bush does not like musicals. I did not realize that. So
Yeah.
now I know that. Still somehow was able to pester him enough to actually get this show to happen. But comes right back to that, and it was really that thing of um, the community, and I think the stage frights. You want to talk a little bit more about that show because that is in a similar spirit to my show, I think, in that it's about comedy, it's about performing in a lot of ways. But can you tell us a little bit more just about stage frights?
Sure. Yeah, and I guess the whole thing hinges on an inside joke, which is not great for public ticket sales. But since we had just obtained the space, I thought, how funny would it be if our play was kind of a historical look at our theater and went back, to the 1800s and was this sort of tour through comedy through history. So that I thought it was going to be a lot more sketchy in that regard, in that
Hmm.
there would just be these little vignettes and eras as we explore comedy and how it's evolved. Um, but as the writing process goes, and you just draw more connections, and then just realize, well, it just makes sense if it all just hinges around one protagonist and stuff. So the the play was about the performers at imposters through history that had died in the theater and what they needed to do to move on through the help of the crotchety old stage manager.
Yeah.
So not I think I'm also one for like, don't reinvent the wheel. I think if you were to describe a lot of my favorite stories, they'd seem really cliche and boring. I'm
Yeah.
really trying to focus on the execution and making the moments different, and
Hmm.
present and relatable and all that. So yeah, I'm not claiming it was like an original idea whatsoever. Um, so yeah, I think yeah, just
Yeah.
celebrate the community and have a good crazy time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I fully agree with you on the I mean, having a foundation of like a really solid story, a well-trod story, like allows you to do so much more in those moments and those like the really fun stuff. You have that foundation of like everything's solid, and then you can go from there. But so you talked about being sort of an ensemble person generally and working with other people. What was the writing process like for stage frights? Because I know there were some other folks involved. So how did it
Yes.
start as your thing, and then other people got on, or how was that whole thing?
Yeah, so my good friend and phenomenal writer performer Amy Schwabauer and I had done a short film sort of recently, and we had talked about doing stuff. Another great passion of mine for your loyal listeners is I'm a spooky person. I love Halloween. Amy is of a similar ilk, and so
Hmm.
we just really bonded around that. And so as soon as Michael greenlit the project, I thought, well, I need help. and
Yeah.
and sort of just knowing the theme of ghosts and soothsayers. Amy was top of my list, and then as we're just
Hmm.
fleshing out the team and trying to get different voices, I had started working with Gregory James around that time, and Cam Godfrey, who is another powerhouse performer, writer, and marketer for Imposters.
Hmm.
So just trying to make sure that my voices were spread out, and Cam is actually a brilliant stand-up, and I
Hmm.
thought, you know if she could handle that aspect and point of view, that would be amazing. um Amy's a great choreographer. One of our characters was like an ex Rockette girl, from the 20s, and so just being
Hmm.
able to naturally and authentically talk about those art forms uh, would just make the whole thing easier. And just I would I guess I'm saying I'm lazy. I think that's what I'm saying, is that, like, if I
Yeah.
if I did it, it would be a ton of work and I would still get it wrong.
Hmm.
So why not bring people on to showcase their talents and specialties, because it's not about me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if I were to do my thing over again, I would have started with that mindset because I took the exact opposite approach. And boy, oh boy, long solitary process that turned into a heavily creative or heavily collaborative process and creative process. But that transition was a little stark. Um, but speaking of that, you were part of the writer. We did like a couple writers' rooms for Callback, and I just want to say huge appreciation for you in our writers' room. It was like like I know you're making that face. It was like I don't even know. It was not even a full hour. It was like 45 minutes that we were in there. But seriously, like that small amount of time, all the things that we talked about, like it was really good to challenge me on some of the stuff that I thought was good. Just thinking about things more holistically and just like the
Mm,
ideas of where to put jokes and little punch ups or little opportunities for jokes, like some of that stuff got like just stolen directly and put directly, and that and some of the best little lines in the show are from that writer's room. So
mm.
I should have done that sooner. I should have like started from there. I think next time it'll be a different process.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a perfect process then. That you learn something,
Yeah.
and want to try things differently.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong
absolutely.
with it.
And it's cool. And I love the writer's room uh concept. Speaking of that a little bit, um, when you are writing something like a sketch, how does that differ from writing something bigger like a play? What does the collaboration look like? What does the like solitary work look like for those different types of writing for you?
Yeah, I think when I'm working alone, my process is always the same, actually, and
Hmm.
that's for writing or directing or performing, and that is, if I can just nail this present moment, I will find the next. And
Mm.
I have a very zoomed in approach, kind of constantly, and then
Hmm.
trusting that when I step back, kind of like a magic eye, the points will then make whatever pattern that they make, and that pattern will be beautiful and sufficient, because I know that each moment honored the previous one and flows into the next one as truthfully as it can.
Mm.
So, when I'm working, I just think, what do I got to establish? Is this the general thing? And then I go from there. When I work with people and I'm getting my insights and just feedback from other people, I'm looking for, is my am I articulating myself clearly to the outside viewer? I have a big problem with that. Just this is, I
Yeah,
think
no,
I'm,
I I understand.
yeah, and so that intention versus impact,
Hmm.
and what is, I think, a very hard skill to learn is, if it's not having the impact that you want it to have, and then it's useless, and that's when you got to cut it and change it, and there's no use like blaming the audience, blaming your co-writer or whatever. Like, well, okay, like,
Hmm.
and it's fine, and then we'll move on. Oftentimes when I work with other people and I know that I'm working with other people, pro tip for writer's block, because all of my friends are funnier than me, I will just write in the line of dialogue, for example, insult. This line is an insult,
Hmm.
because whatever turn of phrase, whatever like unique sentence I might put there could be pretty good. But like, oh man, Cam is such a wordsmith. I know she's
Yeah.
funnier. So, especially she's playing that character, for example, or, has a better, like a stand up reference, for example.
Hmm.
And then when I collaborate with them, just saying, like, hey, I don't know I don't know what the labels are, but I know what this moment is.
Hmm.
So can you please help just label this moment for me?
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, being able to articulate that, or, even to find those places for other people to put their stuff in. That's really cool. That's it's I don't know. I think I need to work with people more because what you're describing sounds amazing. I gotta start writing and just be like blank someone else. I'll call Cam and be like, Cam, write this line for me.
Yeah, yeah. Again,
Sounds
lazy.
great.
Dude, can I shoehorn this in
Yeah, yeah,
right now?
absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Just because this is something that I heard recently and it's really changed my life. So I'm just so evangelical about it. So I'm just gonna
Oh
crowbar this
boy.
moment. It's the sentence, don't do your best, do what is expected of you.
Hmm.
Your best is a cop out. If your job is to, like, the extreme example, like provide for your family, right? And you're like, I'm doing my best, but your family is cold, like what the heck, man?
Hmm.
And it also has this, it carries this idea of perfection, like your best meaning pristine, you
Hmm.
know, and that's just never what is expected in art. What's
Hmm.
expected in the writer's process in an improv show is that you're listening and you're supportive, and we're all here to make something. Like, that's the expectation. So
Hmm.
just getting out of your own head and like, oh, it's not on me to be perfect. What's
Yeah.
expected of me is that, I collaborate truthfully. And that is, dude, it is so freeing. It's so much easier to operate from that space.
Yeah, I think I haven't heard it in those specific words, but one of the big things I've been thinking for this production of Callback is we are going to get one version of this show. And there are a million versions that it could
Yeah.
be, but the version we're going to get is the version, that's perfect for August 2025. Like this is what it's going to be. And that's also freeing to just think like, yeah, we could make 1,000 different choices. We could do 1,000 different things. But I think, yeah, at the end of the day, what's expected is we're gonna put on a show, and we are gonna do that. Like, there's gonna be a show.
Yeah. 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 Like, and we're going to perform our hearts out. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
yeah. It's been cool to see it come together. So for you, what's it like? Because I know you perform on stage a lot. You also are behind the scenes a lot as a writer, director, all those different things. Do you have any of those areas that make you feel the most energized, or that where you feel the most creative as opposed to other ones?
No, I think, I just challenge the choice of most.
Hmm.
I think when I'm directing, I'm bringing as much creative power to that role as when I'm performing. And it's just about being able to switch hats.
Hmm.
I like downshifting, if you will, into performer, but it's quite hard to remove that judge and that third eye of, well, what's my stage picture if I'm the way
Right.
over
For,
here, not in.
yeah.
But it's really nice when I it's sometimes quite relieving to not have to think of warm-ups or not have to have
Right. Yeah.
consideration for anything. You're like, great, I'm here for the flow and I'm gonna support my cast and director.
Hmm.
Um yeah, is that a cop-out answer?
That is absolutely not a cop-out answer. I think that's a great answer. I realized, um, what I really realized is that I hate being in charge, but the only thing I hate more than being in charge is not being in charge because that like makes me like, oh no. It's well for this specifically because it's such a personal thing. It's like I have to be in charge. I hate it, but if I wasn't in charge, I would just be like imploding. I would be,
Mm.
just I could not. I don't think I'd be able to handle it. But it's just it's that weight of responsibility that I would love to just be a performer. It'd be so cool to be directed in something like this. Have you ever been a performer and director at the same time, like in the same show?
Um, I must have done, and I can't recommend it. I don't recommend it. It's super bad. You
It
know.
sounds like I can barely do one or the other, so it's I don't know. Combining both sounds crazy.
Yeah, and I think inherently, I was going to say the project suffers, but maybe that's extreme. The I don't think the project benefits from having less people. And I
Hmm.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
work like the working relationship, when I've uh, generally worked with the same people and sometimes they're directing me or I'm directing them, and uh the group mind starts before the scene begins, right? The group mind again
Right.
is what's expected. What are we trying to do? So I think as long as you're on the same page and working towards a common goal, it never feels like restrictive to be directed. Like
Yeah.
I mean that's the whole point of improv is get out of your own head, right? Your idea is
Yeah.
not more important than your scene partner. So
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah. It's I if only I was able to do that. But sometimes it's well, it's Jonah Jonah Rader Roth is the assistant director for Callback. And we have a Discord server and we have a quotes channel. And Jonah said, like early on in the process, he said, uh, "There's no such thing as overthinking." Maybe, which I think was just the funniest thing. Just like because we were just talking about like trying to like figure out everything and plan for like every little thing, and but just encapsulating that like yeah, there is no such thing as overthinking because it's good to figure everything out to the best so that it make everything as good as it can be, but also like maybe not. I don't know.
yeah, I think there is an impossible amount of data to consider for any choice.
Yeah.
Even in our daily life, you know, what to have for breakfast, what to wear, and the variables. At some point, you draw the line,
Hmm.
and it's just realizing that that line is pretty arbitrary, you know,
Yeah.
and not that we're sloppy with it or careless, but just being confident and knowing that, like, well, in this present moment, whatever, like what are we deciding against, like a bat versus a crowbar, for some weapon and a bit, you're like, well, my god, the shapes are exactly the same. Is crowbar a funnier word? Probably. um but like, it's fine. We have a bat and it's free.
Yeah.
You know what, we're
Yeah.
gonna go with bat because I don't want to buy a crowbar.
Yeah. One of the things that I really ma tried to make sure that I'm doing is, because there are all those little decisions, and I'm always like, can we make the wrong decision? And I'm just like, there's no wrong decisions. There's just different decisions, and we just gotta have fun with it. We're just gonna have a good time, and whatever happens is what it is for this show, which is the approach. Um, all right. Now, thinking back, you've done a lot of shows in your life in various roles. We've talked about a couple of them. Do you have any that come to mind as like really memorable, either good or bad, things that stand out that have been impactful for you in your experience, or just anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean the two that come to mind are the Winners Club, which was a sketch show that I did in Chicago, and I put up at the Public House Theater, and I was really proud of it. And I was auditioning to be a ensemble member at the time
Mm-hmm.
at the theater, and it was closing night of the run, and we smashed it.
Mm-hmm.
The artistic director came up on stage after and thanked everyone and cracked open a bottle of champagne, and then pulled me aside and was like, "Hey man, welcome to the theater. You know, you're in."
Wow.
And that was that's that man was Byron Hatfield, who's no longer with us, and was
Mm-hmm.
a tremendously kind, patient, generous, hilarious dude. And he ran the wife with his wife Sasha, and I just remember thinking, like, I did it, and I dude, to me it felt like making SNL, or
Yeah.
getting the lead role in some feature film.
Yeah.
And the very next one that I think of, honestly, if we want to go that far back, is the Book of Dionysus, which was a show that my partner at the time wrote, and I helped with, but I starred in. And it was just the idea: what if Dionysus, the god of wine and theater and
Mm-hmm.
technically orgies, came back to present day Chicago and tried to get people to believe in the gods again, but just
Mm-hmm.
just kept getting wasted and throwing up, and doing it wrong all the time. Um, and that was, again, another um, handcrafted, devised piece of theater and comedy. Um, Dude, it's just so fulfilling. It's so
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling. Nick Offerman talks about this in his book, because he came up from Chicago too. And there's something about those storefronty, gritty theaters, and our props and our costumes really engage the audience's mind. Like, when
Mm-hmm.
you go to the Playhouse and they just fly in a motorcycle, it's a spectacle. But, like,
Yeah.
as a imaginative creature, you just sort of shut off and you're like, oh well, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the work that we do brings in the audience and engages them on so many different levels. And I was really, really proud of that. Those two shows, I think, were, when I think back, were like my formative experiences, would be those two.
Awesome. That sounds incredible. Well, do you have any, so those two shows sound amazing. If you had, like, I don't want to say unlimited budget. If you could do any show, if you were trying to top those shows, like, what do you have an idea what you would really want to do? If you had, like, all the time in the world, everything, what kind of show you'd want to do? Would it be another type of sketch show, another play, or anything specific?
Wow. I I think I would do more of a standard sketch show, more of like a just a Second City style review.
Hmm.
I mean, if we're shooting the moon, yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'd fly my friends in from Chicago and get the band back together. Joseph, I hit 39 just a couple weeks ago, and the
Wow.
people that I started with, when we're coming up on 40,
Hmm.
and we're even talking about doing reunion shows from colleges and stuff now. And I
Yeah.
think one of the most rewarding parts about this work is uh, developing these relationships that do transcend the art. And
Yeah.
I've known these people over half my life,
Hmm.
and this work is so difficult and thankless and
Yeah.
not financially gainful,
Right.
that if you're not doing it with the people that you love and you care about, I don't understand the point personally. So
Yeah.
I think I'd spend that genie money and assemble my comedy Avengers, and rock the house one more time. I think that would be incredible.
I love that answer so much. Whenever I well when I'm asked that question, I never think about people. I always just think about like crazy things I would do. But the people is really the thing that like makes it worth doing. That's the whole, you know, the creative process. Um,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, that does it for my questions. We talked a lot about a lot of really great stuff. Thank you so much for sharing all your stories and all your perspectives.
Can I
And
ask a question?
sure, you can ask a question.
Seeing as
Yeah.
this was your first process, so because I'm always curious about this, man, I want to know if what your favorite part was. My favorite part of the whole journey
Yeah.
is kind of I don't the night shifts. Like sometimes it's like the tech rehearsal, sometimes it's final dress, but
Hmm.
inevitably there's like a 2 a.m. dinner at a diner where you're exhausted and you're looking across from your partner, a creative, romantic, or your team or somebody, and it's you're over the hump, like it's happening,
Yeah.
and like now you put your arms up and the roller coaster goes like that
Mm.
moment of like maybe the calm before the storm. That I'm always so aware that that's a moment in my life. You know what I mean? Do you
Yeah.
like if throughout this journey have you had a moment that's like we're in it, we're doing it, I love this, like
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to be here?
Oh man. I think there may be a couple. But
Sure.
that like hands up on the roller coaster, one of the big thoughts that I've had because this started as a completely solitary process, me by myself on my computer with my guitar, whatever, like writing songs and dialogue and all that stuff. And then at a certain point, it just it's like a Katamari Damacy when you're like rolling. Have you played that video game?
No, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
It's a game. I'm not going to explain it well. It just you're a little ball and you keep gathering stuff. Everything sticks to you.
Oh,
And it like
I okay.
okay, it's
Yeah.
a yeah. There was a certain point like in this production process where
Mm.
like I got so many great people, my good friends, and you know, team members, and we like have done so much to put it together. There was a moment when I was like, uh, I don't have to. If I die, I mean, morbid. If I died right now, the show would still happen. Like there was that
Yeah.
feeling of
Yeah.
like the machine is working and it's like happening without
Yeah.
my exact direction. And that was a really exciting moment to be like, wow, the incredibly talented people that I've been able to gather have built this thing that is going to keep
Mm.
going. And that like having that moment of realization it was not I do not stay up until 2 a.m. Unfortunately I can't anymore but it's probably 7:30 or something but I do remember that having that moment and then I'll say two other things. The stage reading process was so fun
Mm.
because it was literally just the script and the songs and I zero direction. Like there was it was just everybody having fun, which is very different than this process. And it was just all like people that I knew and loved and amazing performers and great friends coming together to really put something on that I think was, a big sloppy, beautiful mess that was exactly what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
So like the night of that stage reading was something really special. Um, and then the like I'll say one more literally today. So for the show, because Imposters is not really built for a pit orchestra, we are gonna do some backing tracks. It's gonna be our primary way of getting the music out. So
Hmm.
my great friend collaborators are on board, people who I've been in bands with and stuff. And they're putting together the backing tracks. And I was just listening to one of them today and I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. This is so good. Like it's just a really, really, like really, really good. And just picturing it on stage was so exciting uh,
Yeah.
to see it like become a real I'm still weirded out when people say words that I wrote. Like that still feels weird to me, but that's another one. It's just like it's crazy that they have to say these words and that they're doing it. Like it's that's always fun.
Yeah, from a just a nebulous idea to like manifested reality is
Like yeah, it's a
a magical.
physical thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's vocal cords involved instead of just like fingers typing on. I don't know, it's weird.
Well, Joseph, congratulations.
Thank you.
Like what a monumental dude, success already. I can hear it in your voice. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
what you're doing it for. So I can't wait
right.
to see the show, man.
Yeah.
This is gonna be
It
amazing.
it's gonna be fun. Yeah, and it does feel like success because it's the success is not the, you know, the final thing that we do isn't the success. Like this is it. This is when it's
Yeah,
happening.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for talking to me. Do you have any shows coming up? Anything else you want to plug?
Well, just off the top of my head, one of the things I am excited about going at Imposters is a live taped recording of some improv sets.
Yes.
And
This is
on
going to be Booze
August,
and the Boys, right? And some other
yes,
groups. Yeah.
right, my 3-person improv group.
The
So,
greatest the greatest three people ever assembled, honestly. Three of my favorites.
I mean, I've heard it before. People say it. Your words, not mine. It's going around, so be it. But yes, I love them so much. And so we
Yeah.
are doing. There's a 7:30 and a 9:30 show on August 22nd. So please come by, stack the house. We're gonna kill it, and you can hear your laugh on tape forever.
Oh, okay. Quick, I know I said this was over. Do you have any go-to audience laughers? Any good laughers that you always recognize their laughs? Because I have a couple.
Oh, Cam Godfrey,
Yeah, that was on my list.
number one. TJ Gainley, my
Mm,
brother-in-law, best friend.
hmm
Very, very distinct guttural laugh. And I mean, is everyone saying Michael Bush just doing
I
this singular from the back?
yeah, that's a yeah. I was gonna say Dina Nair Mendelitz has a great laugh that I'm always
Mm,
super happy to hear. And then yeah, Michael Bush, how the amount I should not care at so much about his approval, but you know, is what it is. It always feels good when he laughs.
of course, of course. Listen, I think the first step to releasing yourself from that is admitting that you have it, and
Yeah, yeah.
we're all there. We're all needy. We're there for the laughs. I don't think it's a
hmm
problem,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
at least that's what I'm sticking with.
But that's gonna be a really great show. That's so cool. I'm so glad that you're gonna be able to do that and put it all, you know, for posterity. It's such a cool thing. I'll try to get this out by not that it's gonna be I, someone might listen to this. I'll try to get it out before the 22nd. We'll see.
Hey, I will plug it on my socials so my
Hey,
mom can listen to it.
there you go. There you go. Ryan's mom, come see this show.
Mom, I love you. Thank you for listening. I'll see you probably this week sometime.
All right. Anything else?
No, Joseph, again, congrats and thank you for being a part of the imposters community and creating work like this. I think what makes us special is that we are homegrown artists. And
Yeah.
these aren't shows that are flown in and on tour. This is what's happening in Cleveland, man. You are what's happening in Cleveland. So just
Yeah.
grateful to have you and your cast around, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for making me make this, you know, eventually.
Oh, oh boy. If only that were true.
No, you're one small piece of the whole puzzle,
True.
but it is homegrown is a great word for it. It's very, very much authentic, true to whatever is going on in Cleveland. This is one of them.
What a
Awesome.
Midwest goodbye for the end of a podcast. This
Right.
goodbye has been easily 12 minutes. If you're still listening,
You better be. All
you're a
right.
G. You're a real one. Thank you so
The end.
much.